I'm Tim Ventura from AmericanAntiGravity.com, and I'm speaking with Andy McQuerry, who did some technical work on the experiment with Warren York and Mike Wendell. Well, thanks for joining us, Andy. Sorry to get you so late your time. I know that it's approaching midnight there. I was wondering if I could ask you a little bit about how you participated in the project with them.
Well, actually, the core mathematics done, and what I had done was the same, and that's how we, got together. I went to, what is that, in 2001, an energy convention, and I met somebody that actually knew Mike and said that, we needed to get together because we had been working on some of the same stuff, except we didn't know each other.
Oh, okay. Now, was that Tesla Tech, or was that a different convention?
No, that was the Dallas Energy Convention.
Oh, okay. Because I know Mike is speaking at Tesla Tech this year, so I thought I'd throw out a quick plug for the conference. But
yeah, and that's basically how we got together. And then later on, when Mike got to know me, he introduced me to Warren. Well, me and Warren got to talking, and I had the right basic idea all along, except I, was a little bit off on my phase angle. I mean, a little bit off on my count, but still, the way I was going at it and the original mathematics, the core mathematics was the same.
Okay.
When I compared my mathematics with his mathematics, he's a whole lot more advanced in mathematics than I am. And basically, I'm a technician that had to do with sound, and I made the connection between the sound and the energy.
Yeah. Now, the phase angle is something that you've mentioned to me in the past, and it really seems like that's the key to a lot of your work. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, when you go to anything that is not basically on your sine wave, you're going to have to change the phase angle to get anywhere else. That's just a known fact.
Yeah.
Okay, but see, the numbers is really, once you change the phase angle and get below zero. See, our basic mathematics are based on the sine wave. Okay, and then they say you go to DC. Well, guess what? DC is still on the sine wave. You've got to get away from that. I've been able to actually phase shift DC.
Okay.
And that's what me and Warren both agree is called flipping the electron, which gets into spintronics and all that. Now, I don't disagree with spintronics at all. I do agree, but he's going at it at a different angle.
Yeah.
And Warren looks at it at a different angle. And all the guys that's ever got into Scalar has gone at it at a different angle. Well, the thing about it is you've got, see if I can remember all the names. Tom Bearden. You've got Pentengoff, or what's his name? Anyway, the guy from Russia. And it's all the same. That's what that I'm trying to get people to understand. It is all the same, except you don't have the specifics. Warren, and I have to talk about him because he taught me so much, has the mathematics to get you all the way into warp, which is the true mathematics for anti-gravity.
Okay.
And if you was to just say, what's the mathematics for anti-gravity, he could pop it off immediately. Now, what most of our problems are has to do with intensity. And everybody says, well, frequency is the key. Well, maybe not. I don't agree, and then I don't disagree with that, because you've got to have the intensity. In intensity, you have your amperage, your voltage, and your frequency.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
which your voltage and your amperage makes your wattage. And that's the simple stuff. But the core key to every, let's see, for example, let's look at the lifter project. The lifter project and the mathematics are the same.
Okay.
Any way you want to look at it, it's the same. We're not getting away from anything. When you spin something and make it float, the core mathematics is the same because the shear effect changes the phase angle.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Okay? Once you change that phase angle by cutting into the wave, you actually cut that wave all to pieces.
Yeah.
And then you have standing waves, traverse waves, and then you have what you call a scalar wave. And once you get into standing waves and traverse waves, and there's another wave that I don't have on the tip of my tongue right now. It all is the same. The problem is getting your amperage and your voltage together. Okay, so now we've changed the phase angle, so we need to pump up the amperage and the voltage. You either increase the voltage to the maximum, as Tesla would say, increase the pressure.
Sure.
Okay, and when you say increase the pressure is simply the voltage.
Well, since you've mentioned Tesla, it's interesting because, you know, I from our previous conversations, you've pretty much, I guess, made it clear that Tesla was a major influence in your work. And what's interesting to me is, you know, I've talked about this with both Mike and Warren, the comparisons to the Hutchison effect that you guys are seeing, and Hutchison also was greatly influenced by Tesla. So you're both working with somewhat similar equipment, right? It's not perfect, but it's close. It's high frequency. It's alternating current. It's, you know, neon drivers that are.
Well, okay. Now let's get this straight. I don't do high frequency.
Oh, okay. You don't.
No, I said the lifter project does high frequency. They do high frequency. I don't do high frequency.
Okay.
Because of some of the other factors. And see, I was raised, my science has to do with sound, so it has to be low frequency.
Oh, okay.
And with the low frequency, you get the larger waves.
Yeah. Now these are sonic frequencies, you said?
No, I didn't. And I didn't say.
Oh, okay.
I said they were sound frequencies. Well, when you change the phase angle, you have no sound, so we're not even dealing with sound now. When you change the phase angle of the high frequencies, you don't have high frequency anymore.
Yeah.
You have pressure.
And that pressure is what produces the scalar effects then.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, now what you have to do is get the correct pressure and the correct amperage together. See, the lifter project uses, I believe it's 20 or 30 milliamps at 30,000 volts, if I'm not correct.
Yeah.
But it's not what you do here. It is, if you was to look at the lifter project as waves, you would see all the waves coming together in the center. Okay, when they come together in the center, that's where the phase angle is changed.
Oh, okay.
Okay, when you have the shear, you know, with your spinning object, the spinning, how many RPMs you ever spinning is massive RPMs. But these massive RPMs are shearing the wave. When it shears the wave, it changes the phase angle.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you would go to the website, look at the article that I've written, it's plain. It's explained in explicit numbers, and it's explained in actually the phase angle.
Now, you're referring to some posts that we've published in American Anti-Gravity, and I'll put links up to those with the interview.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in terms of coils now, you've built a number of really unique coils. Can you tell us about some of the designs that you've worked
Well,
with?
the coils basically follow the same principle. There's coils that change the phase angle, and there's coils that don't. So you have your caduceus coil, you have a bifilar coil, and there's another coil, a Moebius coil.
Okay.
All of these coils change the phase angle.
Yeah, and they produce different effects. Now, I've heard...
No, they produce the same effect.
Oh, same
That's
effect.
where you're wrong.
Okay, I'm sorry.
They produce the same effect simply because of the shear. It's shear in the waves. Once you shear the waves, then you have basic particles. These basic particles are called phonons, bosons, and several other different names. Even when you get into neutrons, you can't have a neutron without changing the phase angle.
Yeah.
Because the neutron and the proton, when they come together, the electron and proton, when they come together, they make the neutron.
Well, out of curiosity, Andy, in terms of effects, you had talked about a chandelier that broke and came back together, right?
No, it didn't broke. It melted.
Melted.
Came back
I'm
together.
sorry. And
if you'll go to orbit, you just put my name in the computer, Andy McQuerry, and you'll see where there's an article written in orbit. And these are some of my experiments and exactly what happened, exactly what I was thinking, and dodging my wife.
Okay.
Because I said, hey, my wife's gone, it's time to play.
Yeah.
And so I get up there and start, firing up my coils, and this particular wave, what it did was it basically went through the chandelier, which made the chandelier appear like it was melting. And then as soon as the wave moved on, the chandelier just went back together.
Oh, okay.
So I changed for a split second. When I say split, I mean split. Say you have a wave or a sound wave traveling at, let's say even 1 hertz. It travels at the speed of sound, which is 1,100 something feet per second, right?
Okay.
Okay, so this wave is going that fast, but then again, it's like a standing wave that goes real slow, and it just moves across the room. And I was trying to remember how I built that coil, because unfortunately, somebody told me they was going to build me a professional coil, and I give them the coil.
Oh, and it disappeared.
This was a handmade coil. I made it myself. And I had done the mathematics from running through the mathematics of Tesla on the coils. And I'm still trying to remember how many turns that I did that particular coil.
Well, Andy, have you seen any other effects aside from the chandelier? I mean, because I'm wondering what some of the other anomalies, I guess, that you might have seen are.
Oh, there's all kinds of anomalies, and some that I won't even talk about, just because it has to do with some of our special experimentation. We've seen them, jump up, and I have a videotape of the coils actually coming up, anywhere from 4 to 6 inches, and since I don't have the diodes and stuff to actually hold it in that place, the diodes that I actually need they're about $1,100 a piece.
Yeah.
And so I'm a poor boy. I can't afford that. But you've got to hold that. And some people say, well, that's going to totally wipe out your diode. Maybe not. I think there's several other different ways to go. But anyway, I had another partner that took my advice and built another set of coils. And he put 20 coils together and tied them to a chain, and at 600 volts, but the amperage was high. Now, see, we went low voltage, high amperage on this one.
Okay.
And this one actually lifted up, and we had some Hawking chains. These are like These chains were about 2 inches, and this thing was chained down, and it lifted up off the ground.
Oh, that's amazing. So it's a true kind of anti-gravity effect then.
Right. Now that was one experiment. I've had coils, actually jump. I've had coils to actually start vibrating. Like across the table.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's another effect that has to do with experiment that had been done in submarines. The scientists were shot and all that old story, But I find a lot of this stuff that they say is it goes back to this phase angle. No matter any way you look at it, it goes back to the same phase angle.
Okay.
But but you have to know how many degrees of this particular phase angle that has to it has to be set on. Now, if you know the degrees in the mathematics, then it's relatively like shooting ducks in a barrel.
Yeah, yeah.
And Michael has found some very, very odd anomalies, and all of them still on the same phase angle. Warren has beat his brains out with these mathematics, and it's on the same phase angle. I knew where anti-gravity was in 98, and I said, well, if you do this, and do this, you'll have anti-gravity. But I wasn't quite, my pressures and my amperage was not quite in there yet.
Okay.
And so once you get on this phase angle, you just simply have to adjust your frequency and your amperage. You get the frequency and the amperage together with the phase angle, then you'll have an anti-gravity effect, and it won't take you long at all.
Okay. Well, Andy, we're almost out of time for this evening, but I want to thank you again for joining us. And again, we will put up links to your material as well as the material of Mike and Warren's stuff as well. And so hopefully this will help the audience get a much better feel of the technology you guys are working with and build some interest, because you guys are really seeing some amazing results.
And we have anomalies that the YGM, that YGM anomaly, they actually stalled time for 3 hours, which I thought was fantastic. And after the project was over with, then you had I can't remember that particular type of radiation, but there's a radiation that actually goes with the stalling of time.
Oh, and Cherenkov radiation, maybe?
There you go, Cherenkov. I believe that and this is my personal opinion, and I haven't talked to Mike about it, but to all possibilities, I think that's what created the YGM effect.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it stands to reason it's still on the same phase angle.
Sure. Well, Andy,
we're not talking apples and oranges, or say pickups and buses here. We're talking apples and apples. It all goes down to the shear, and the shear, if you're spinning something, it changes the phase angle. Okay? On the lifter project, same thing. You've got all these waves slamming together in the middle, which is actually creating something similar to a particle beam.
Yeah.
But you realize your bosons and your phonons are larger particles than air, and they're lighter than air.
Okay.
And then that you have some people say there's ions. Well, I can't discount that either, because if you take something away, you're going to have an ion. So it's all basic as far as I'm concerned. It's all like basic string theory.
Yeah, yeah.
But the difference between theory and models, we can build models instead of just saying, this is theory, because we have things shown what happens if you do this. And that's why we showed you one of our projects that is on the beam project.
Yeah.
That beam project, actually, if you'll look in the beam, you'll see the standing waves right in the middle of the beam. And I call them shark. They look like shark gills.
Yeah. No, they're very obvious. The photos.
Little purple shark gills. Well, this is only the beginning.
Okay.
Because there's some other things that you have to put together in order for these things. Now, this particular machine actually thrown out so many oddities that we could investigate just that one beam and what it would do for years.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of, because it's a novelty, and it's not that much a novelty, simply because this happens in nature all the time.
Well, Andy, again, we're almost out of time, so thank you again for joining us, and we'll let you get back to bed for the evening. I know it's a little bit on the later side there, but thanks again for your time, and have a nice evening.
All right, I would encourage anybody that's really interested in the science to go and look at all these articles, because everything, and I just basically down outright explained everything. All you have to do is look at it and go do it. It's not one of those things that's not going to work. You just got to get your voltage and your amperage and your frequency all together, and that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and have a nice evening.
Well, thank you, Tim, for calling me, and I really enjoyed talking with you, and hopefully that everything will work out to a point where I can get the funding to actually. I've got a pickup sitting out here in my front yard, and I would love to see that thing flow.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, have a good one, Andy, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you, guys.